dachte, da wäre ein Boden. Ich dachte, das Licht wäre die Lampe von dem Raum oder so. Was?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Tschüss. Hallo.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Hä?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Warum bist du jetzt eine Frau?
Every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance. Death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Mhm. Aha. Ah. Ja, es ist sehr schwer, einen Korridor richtig zu setzen, damit man in den richtigen Raum kommt. Stanleys Computer. Hm. Mhm. Wow. Das ist eine schöne Ausstellung. Ich mach die kaputt. Was gibt's hier drüben? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Button Sounds. Hä? Mhm. Aha. Wow, Credits. Die Office. Und hier Maintenance Room. Aha. Ich will da noch nicht hoch. Ich will erstmal auf die andere Seite. Können wir rennen? Leider nicht. Was ist hier? Mhm. Boss's Office, ja. Hey, das kenne ich nicht und... Doch, das kenne ich, glaube ich. Das kenne ich nicht. Wow, die Uhr gefällt mir besonders gut. Das ist hier. Mhm. Underground. Employee Lounge.
Stanley stood on the step, and finally he pushed the number 9. Then he pushed the number 5. Stanley
Ist ja mies. Das kann man sich ja gar nicht anhören, weil es einfach so leise ist. Naja. Jetzt muss ich auf der anderen Seite auch noch gucken, ob da auch noch sowas war. Oh, eine Kuppel. Das Spiel ist einfach so absolut lustig und einfach so liebevoll gestaltet. Ich meine, es ist die ganze Zeit irgendwas anderes. Es macht die ganze Zeit das Gleiche, aber kommt irgendwas anderes raus. Stacheldraht, Zaun. Warzone. Stanley would end up on Battlefield 180. Ja! Uh-huh. Wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jerky and game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters. It was not our intention. Ja, egal was du sagst, du machst immer dich über jeden lustig. Mhm. HD Remix. Nicht schlecht. Und hier? Hä? Hi, Mr. Narrator Guy. Kommt da jetzt noch eine? Also... Es irritiert mich. Das irritiert mich einfach echt. Aha. Mhm. Die Apartment... Der Spoiler, den kenne ich noch nicht. Wo bin ich? Das habe ich... Ich will keine Karte. We ran. Hallo? Ich möchte was gucken. Fernsehen. Dann halt nicht. Pff. Puh. Okay, ich habe mich verlaufen. Wo bin ich? Da stand Exit. Wo bin ich? Was zur Hölle? Okay, ich gehe dahin, wo Exit stand. Lauf schneller. Flieg wieder. Exit. Ja. Lass mich raus.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time choose.
Entschuldigung, ich hatte meine Hände nicht an der Tastatur. Dann muss ich jetzt wirklich auf Beenden drücken, oder was? Spiel neu starten. Hallo? Okay, Spiel neu starten. Ha.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ups. Entschuldigung.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Wir machen jetzt alles nochmal so, nur dass wir uns nicht töten lassen.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Hi, Chef. Hallo, Chef. Wo bist du?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ich bin vollkommen beruhigt. Ich bin ganz ruhig. Das war gerade creepy. Ein interessanter Ladebildschirm. Komplett anders als die anderen bisher. Diesmal nicht töten lassen.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Nö, noch
At
nicht.
this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Okay, jetzt gehe ich zurück. Wobei, da wäre ich reingefallen, glaube ich. Oh, ich will die ganze Zeit springen können. Errungenschaft freigeschaltet. You can't jump. Ah, ich dachte, weil ich da nicht runtergesprungen bin. Ich will aber springen. Lass mich springen. Bin so viele MMOs und RPGs gewöhnt.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Push the button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ja, ja. Kameras
Now the
an.
monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Tja, wer braucht schon Freiheit, wenn er Button pushen kann?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Okay.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Was? Wir wollen alles kaputt machen? Gott, dann machen wir alles kaputt. 4. Ich weiß noch nicht mal, was ich da gerade gedrückt habe, aber es stand eine 4 drauf. An. An. Dann halt nicht. Muss ich da runter? Wow, Disco, Disco. Wuhuhu. Okay. Was ist hier? Auch nichts. Dann gehen wir doch mal in die Facility Power. 5. 5. Hallo? Okay.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Können wir auch on?
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
Evil?
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?